Hey guys, it's time for a brand new box office prediction video, but this one is happening on the road because I am home sweet home for Thanksgiving and very, very happy about it. But of course, I couldn't miss out on a weekend of box office predictions, especially with such a big holiday weekend ahead of us, so that's what you're getting right now. But before we jump into the new numbers, we've got a little fantasy movie league recapping to do, and it was an interesting weekend in the game. Apparently, it was a tough one because we didn't have a single player in the predictions with Perri League score that perfect lineup, but we did have someone win the weekend with the largest total, and that player is my friends. You bow to no one. A huge congratulations to you, our one and only winner, our high scorer for the weekend. I wound up in position 22, which is pretty solid. I'll take it. It's better than where I was before after that really big beginning of the season blunder that I'm slowly chipping away at fixing right now, but 22, I'll take it. I also did go 5 for 5 in my predictions. The rankings were on point, but I do wish some of my numbers were a little closer. Getting into it now, though, we had Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald coming in at number 1, but now it's officially the lowest opening of the Harry Potter film franchise with $62.2 million for its opening weekend haul, a good deal below the $70 million that I predicted. Number 2 went to The Grinch, which held on well, dropping just 43% and making another $38.6 million. Bohemian Rhapsody didn't hold on as strong as I thought, though, and that one made $16 million, which was good enough for the number 3 spot. Then it was Instant Family, which also didn't pop as I thought it would, and kicked off its run with $14.5 million, and then finally we've got Widows, which underperformed and took the 5 spot with $12.4 million. Now it's time to get into this new round of predictions here, and first up, number 5. I actually don't have Robin Hood. Not at 5 and not on my list at all this week. The one that I'm looking at, though, is Instant Family, especially with that A cinema score. I do think there is a chance that it could steal this position, but officially for this video, I'm giving number 5 to Bohemian Rhapsody. This one's been cruising along nicely ever since it opened, and I think that's continuing here. The movie that I'm looking at for Bohemian Rhapsody right now is Thor Ragnarok, and I know they're two completely different kinds of movies, but Ragnarok had its 4th weekend in theaters during Thanksgiving weekend, which is why I'm looking at it right now. So when that happened, Thor Ragnarok dropped 22.2%, and at that point in its run, it had more to lose than Bohemian Rhapsody. Considering that, I think there's a good chance that Bohemian Rhapsody could see that same exact percent change, but maybe it might come up to just 25%, and even if it does rise to that, it's still making another $12 million for the 3-day weekend, and then possibly $18 million for 5. Moving over to my number 4 now, that is where I have The Grinch. Get ready for yet another stronghold for this one. I do know that Ralph Breaks the Internet is coming into play this time around, but The Grinch has the holiday benefit. Everyone's in the holiday spirit right now, and I have a feeling this one is in pretty good shape yet again. Looking at what happened last weekend with The Grinch, it lost 43%. I think that number's coming down, maybe down to an even 40%, and if that's the hit that The Grinch winds up taking this Thanksgiving weekend, it could make $23 million for 3 days and possibly $35 million for the full 5-day weekend. Now let's make our way over to number 3, and that's where I have last weekend's big winner. It's Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Of all the box office veterans we're talking about in this week's box office prediction video, I think Fantastic Beasts is really the only one heading towards a likely sizable hit, but it did make a good chunk of change last weekend, so even if it does lose, let's say, half of its opening weekend profits, it's still making something like $28 million for 3 days, and then maybe $40 million for the full 5-day run. Sure, weekend 2 for the first Fantastic Beasts movie, it only dropped 40%, but clearly the sequel is having a little bit of a tougher time, so I have a feeling it is going to see a much higher percent change. Now it's time to move over to number 2, and that's where we get into our big new heavy hitters this weekend, and the first one I've got for you is Creed 2. The first Creed movie also opened on Thanksgiving weekend, but back in 2015. When that happened, the movie opened up with $29.6 million, and I got a good feeling Creed 2 is going to top that. Yet again, it's got the benefit of opening during a holiday weekend, and it's also got good reviews again. Sure, they are not as hot as the first movie, but they're still pretty positive, and I, for one, recommend seeing it. So with all that in mind, I've got a good feeling that Creed 2 could hit an even $35 million for 3 days, and maybe even $50 million for the full 5-day holiday run. Now it is time for that #1 movie of Thanksgiving weekend 2018, and that honor is probably going to Ralph Breaks the Internet. The first movie, Wreck-It Ralph, opened up with $49 million, but it didn't have the holiday weekend. It opened up just a little earlier in the month, so I do think that Ralph Breaks the Internet is going to benefit heavily from being a Thanksgiving weekend release. Of course, we do have the Grinch in play, and as you guys already know, I think the Grinch is going to do pretty well, but I do think that those two things that I just mentioned might balance out, and that could pave the way for Ralph Breaks the Internet to make something like $50 million for the 3-day weekend, and then $73 million for the full 5 days, and those numbers would actually put it right in line with the movie that Disney released last year for Thanksgiving weekend, and that's Coco. So there you have it, guys. Those are my top 5. Quickly, we must recap them. Of course, I have Ralph Breaks the Internet coming in at #1 with $50 million for 3 days and $73 million for 5. Then it's Creed 2 at #2 with $35 million for 3 days and $50 million for 5. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is getting my #3 spot with $28 million for 3 days and $40 million for the full 5-day run. Then it's The Grinch at #4 with $23 million for 3 days and $35 million for the full holiday weekend. And then finally at #5, I've got Bohemian Rhapsody sticking around with $12 million for 3 days and $18 million for the full 5-day run. There it is, guys. Those are my predictions. But of course, you know what has to happen next. Hit that comment section below and put your top 5 predictions there. And also a reminder, don't forget to lock your Fantasy Movie League lineup. It's a big weekend, a holiday weekend. You're going to want to get in on this action. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, and really almost every video I do, I owe some big thanks to a few patrons. And this is going actually to a group of 6, and they're a group of 6 PNME Patreon veterans who I greatly appreciate, and they are Steven, Lewis, Rick, Aviel, James, and Neil. You guys have heard it time and time again. It's never going to stop, but because it's Thanksgiving, an extra just warm, thankful, my sincerest thank you to you guys for being here. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you guys, and really, your support does make a difference, so thank you so much. Another round of thank yous go out to everybody on the PNME Patreon team. Again, it makes a difference, and I hope you guys know that, and it's greatly appreciated. And one more round of thank yous for this holiday weekend to everybody who watches these videos on my YouTube channel. I love talking about and celebrating movies, TV, you name it, any form of entertainment. So the fact that I have this channel and I can share all those thoughts and feelings with you guys really does mean the world to me. So you guys being here and watching helps make that happen. So thanks for letting me do what I love. You guys rock. Dewey sends his love as well. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. I will see you next weekend to see how we all did on our box office predictions.